You ready to start?
She's
Okay.
setting it up.
Yes, we're ready to go. Okay. I don't have it. I'm missing my gavel. That's all right. I'll improvise. I call to order the meeting of the Parks and Rec Commission on June 14th at 6:30 p.m. Roll call.
Jimenez here.
Bonnie Bologoff here.
Fryer here.
Covino present.
Marmion present.
Okay, next up is the adoption of the agenda.
I move that we adopt the agenda
I'll
as
second it.
presented.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes from the last meeting.
I move to approve the minutes of May 10th.
I second.
I did have one little
Oh.
tiny change.
Okay.
Under reports, chairperson, it's chairperson Fryer, not Fry.
Oh,
Little
Didn't see that typo.
second page. It's just a typo.
oh, I see that.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor to approve them. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
With the correction,
With the correction, yes.
the amended correction.
Citizens communication. So we have two people here. Who wants to go first?
Hello, everybody. Is this on? Check, check, check. I am Jimmy Leslie, Dreamstar Productions, and just here to update you on the Star City Music Festival. It's happening. I have posters for everybody to see, and essentially, I just essentially wanted to tell you all that we're rolling with this thing and checking with you and tell you what we've got, and open it up to you and ask me any kind of questions that you want to know. Essentially, it's July 8th, as you all know, and it's going to start in the skate park. All right, we're going to have some pros come do some of the tricks that all the kids are working on, and after about half an hour of that, Alta Motors, one of the sponsors, is going to lead an electric dirt bike motorcade into the park, where they will then set one of their bikes. And the way that we've got the first act then will start at noon, and the first act is Hannah Carter, as some of you would know her around town. She won Brisbane's Got Talent, which we put on 2 weeks ago, to great success at the Mission Blue Center. And so Hannah will do the first half hour. And then after that, we've got Katie Garibaldi, who lives around the corner in South San Francisco, is a nationally touring singer-songwriter and also does work at Guitar Player Magazine with me. We have Jerry Cool and the Side Effects, Jerry Cool being a well-known local guitar player and singer. And we have Vanessa Silberman Band, she's kind of like if you cross Nirvana with singer-songwriter. She's kind of like a punk singer-songwriter, I guess. And she's another nationally touring act that will do the next half-hour set. And then we get into the bigger bands, the longer band sets. Killer Whale is like a psychedelic indie rock band that we found, essentially conducting our own little San Francisco's Got Talent search. There it is. In Mikey's studio. So we just kind of looked at what the city's rags were saying were the hot up-and-coming bands. We made a list of them, listened to all their stuff, went out and caught some of them, and chose Killer Whale. After that, we're going to have the Allman Brothers Clan. That's my Allman Brothers tribute band that maybe you guys have seen. I've played it in the park before, and that should be a little bit extra special, being that Greg Allman just passed away a couple of weeks ago. Diego's Umbrella is next, and that's a nationally touring gypsy rock band. They're based here in the Bay Area, but it's very much like, fiddles and gypsy vibes meets an alternative rock band, basically. And for the final band, it's Afrolicious, which is Afrobeat, funk, modern funk kind of thing, basically a party on wheels that we figured everybody could dance to. After that, I'll lead an all-star jam. We'll have various members of all the bands come up, and I've got a singer coming down from Tahoe named Ashley Kepler, who's a super sexy, sort of burlesque style cross with rock and roll kind of thing. Our own Ron Davis is going to sit on drums. We have Jeff Taylor's going to come play some saxophone, and we'll work in everybody else that we can in the all-star jam. So that's kind of the run of the music for the day. We have the Lions Club is coming and doing the sort of festival favorites kind of menu that they tend to do. Mangiare is going to bring down a couple of things. The Teriyaki House is going to bring over some food, as is the Midtown Deli. So we'll have all those guys for food, and Mike from Carol's Meats, the old vendor at the Midtown Market that's now in South San Francisco, he's going to bring some things and sort of do hospitality for the bands.
Can I ask you, when you say they're going to come down and bring some food, are they going to have individual booths, or is there going to be one food area that they're all contributing?
They're going to have individual booths.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have like a pop up for each item.
Gotcha.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Sunset Scavenger has agreed to come and take care of the trash and recycling, which is really, really nice. The beer is going to be provided by 47 Hills Brewing Company. I don't know if y'all are aware of John Tucci, Tucci, I believe, who lives here in Brisbane and was the Gordon Biersch brewmaster for many years, and they lost their lease on that building down by the ballpark recently, and he took all the Gordon Biersch know-how and vats and everything down to a location on South Linden Street in South San Francisco and built a beautiful place, him and his partner by hand. They have a big tasting room, and they're having music in there, and they're selling sausages, and there's a gang of people in there every night after work. So he's a great partner in terms of bringing South City and handing out promotion and stuff like that, and bringing 4 different kinds of craft beer to the event. We're still on the pursuit of the wine sponsor, exactly who that will be. But the liquor license has been worked out with a one-day license provided through the nonprofit San Bruno Mountain Watches number. So we've met with them as well, and they're excited to be on board. They will be the way we're doing this setup. I don't know if y'all are hip to the way we're doing it, but it's not going to look like a concert in the park. The gazebo will be the information station, and we'll have San Bruno Mountain Watch down there, and Alta Motors, and anybody else who's putting out information to the public in concentric circles in the gazebo. And the stage will be at the other end, so that if you were like looking at Ace Hardware, the stage would essentially be there. The reason being is we wanted the backdrop to be the mountain, so you're looking at the band play and you see the mountain behind it that we're doing this in the name of. And we're wheeling in a big Transformers truck style stage that I got from a guy that did the Guitarfish Festival. In other words, he is going to literally drive a truck in, and it will boom open up into a really cool stage with a roof on it. And we're bringing in a real sound system, the likes of which, you know, it's a good thing that it will be pointed away. We're not going to do it the other way like they always do at the concert in the park. That's a great thing, and it lets people come down and hear about the free event. In this case, we felt it would be best to be pointing away from the bowl. And this is a ticketed event. So that's the other thing that we really need to get the word out about. We're trying very much to let people know this is not just another concert in the park. They need to buy advance tickets. They save money on the event when they do.
How much are the tickets?
So tickets have been at an introductory price of $15 since we started this, but now this week we've raised them to $20, and the on-site, the way that that's going to work is on-site, it's a little different. The ticket vendor's mechanism, we will essentially charge $25 at the door, but eat the fees, whereas like if they buy them now, they still save a couple bucks in those advance fees, even though it's $19.99. You see what I mean? So I think it comes out to be like $22 and change that they'll be paying right now. And see, like, what else do we have? The DoubleTree by Hilton is another one of the sponsors that we've round up, and we've got a room rate thing worked out with them. If anybody's coming in from out of town, we want to set them up over at the DoubleTree. And I don't know. I guess that's kind of the run of the day from the way I'm seeing it. Is there anything else y'all would like to ask me?
You have a kids area, I hear, too?
Sure. Well, of course, there's the playground there. We're going to have a maker's tent.
Right.
The maker's tent is essentially going to be a place where the kids can make stuff. People of all ages can make stuff. And the maker's thing is something that my partner in this in Dreamstar can't be here tonight because he's working. But he's the owner of Lucky Studios, which moved into Valley Drive not long ago, about a year ago. And that's how we connected. I started hearing about all these pretty well-known musicians making records in Brisbane and walking around town and calling me, and they were recording at Mikey's. So he runs Lucky Studios here in town, but he also is the manager of the Casanova, a bar in the Mission. So when it comes to all the logistics of the sort of on-site and the vendors and the beer and the wine and all that, he's got the better beat on it. But he's got this affiliation with a thing called the Makers, and the Makers get together every 3 weeks, and the idea is that a theme is thrown out. And in this case, it will be a freedom theme because it's around the 4th of July, and makers are always encouraged to make something around the theme. So if you're a songwriter, you write a song about freedom, but a maker could be anything, really. And in this case, what we'll do is get the kids in there and play the ping song game with them. And the way the ping song works is sort of you write a word or a line, you write a word or a line, and eventually they sort of work it together into a song and perform it. So that kind of stuff will be going on in the Maker's tent. In terms of any other kids' activities, we're still open to getting that going. We were kind of hoping that that was going to work out in a few different ways, and it really hasn't. So if anybody has any further suggestions about what to do in terms of kids' activities or any kind of supervised kids stuff, we're all ears to hear it.
Okay.
Well, thanks, Jamie, for coming down and talking to us about this. And I was actually sitting in the two of the first two city council meetings where you were making this presentation, so I heard a little bit about it. And I also caught the tail end of the Brisbane's Got Talent event, which I thought was really, really a wonderful wonderful evening. I did have a few questions, but before I got to my questions, did anybody else have questions for Jimmy?
I just have one. How are the ticket sales going?
They're going all right, but we need to do better.
Okay.
In terms of the way this thing was put together, the idea was that we wouldn't really go far and wide announcing it until all the sponsors had a chance to be on the poster and have a chance to be on the handbills and all that kind of stuff. So really tickets they were on sale for longer, but nobody really knew about it until maybe 3 weeks ago or something like that. So we're doing okay. We've got some ticket sales going, but we need to do better. I think that's the biggest challenge that we've run into is everybody just thinks they can go down to Community Park and just see the show because that's the way it's always been. Mm-hmm. But the way this event is going to be and how the cost of this event means that we need to have tickets or else we can't raise any money on the back end for the mountain or grow it or pay for it, basically.
How is it really going to be barricaded to keep everybody from just coming down and parking it?
Fencing.
Yeah.
We're going to fence it off, yeah. And there will be a main gate up here at the corner, like across from the post office, right across from Ace Hardware. And we're going to put some Shinto gates up there, and make it look cool. But essentially, we're just gonna. The fencing's being arranged with Noreen and through Mikey. It's not going to be like Donald Trump's border wall or anything like that. It's going to be some fencing that essentially says, pay to get into this thing, but if somebody really wanted to, I suppose they probably could figure out a way.
We could get a ladder.
Where is the admission area going to be set up in all of this?
Right, so the main gate will be right at the corner of Visitacion and San Francisco.
Okay.
Right, so the idea is that when you walk in there, now the stage is on your right, and the natural little sidewalk with the garden is on your left. You have a choice. You can go right to the stage, or you can go enter into what will be literally the beer garden there.
So
and then if you flow all the way to the gazebo. You see the information station there. The food will be beyond that, and the porta potties there. Then the kids area, the maker's tent, and back around to the stage.
So the stage will really be on San Francisco then, or will it be out in front of the hardware store?
No, correct. It will be in the park.
Okay.
Right. We're gonna have to put some kind of boards down or something like that.
Street,
but it will literally be like the sidewalk and the
Gotcha.
first part of the actual plot of the park.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds like you're very well organized. It's,
Yeah.
It's
We
very,
hope so,
very nice
yeah.
how you set it up with everything.
We've tried to think of everything, but again, if you guys think of anything, you go right ahead and tell us. And we've been working every week with Noreen, and Trish has been super helpful in getting this together, and Ricardo as well. We've literally been down to Parks and Rec every week, meeting and making sure that we're all on the same page.
Yeah. So I did have a couple of questions. So the musical start time is at noon.
That's correct.
But prior to that, there are these other events in the skate park.
The skate park.
What's the start time for that?
11 a.m. is the time we're putting on that. Essentially, we'll hope to gather a group of kids. Mikey, my partner who lives in the Mission, has some pros that live like right next to them. They have like Vans endorsements and things like that. So the idea is that just rattle up. We really want to get the kids involved in this thing as much as we can. If we can get that going, they can do some tricks, everybody can hoot and holler for a little while in that park, then we can have the Altamotors, people signal it, and everybody kind of follow the motorcycles.
And is their participation also part of the ticket price, or is that a free
That's a
event
free
for them?
thing.
That's a free.
That's a free thing. Yeah.
So, but without a ticket, that won't lead naturally for them into the afternoon event.
It won't. I mean, the idea would be if they wanted to come in, they'd still have to pay, but kids get into the event for free anyways. And I don't know. I mean, even as I'm sitting here thinking about it, and I have thought about this a little bit in my brain privately, that, if we've got a group of teenagers that have gathered for that, and we could probably just go, all right, thank you 25 kids for being here and starting this day off well, and everybody in, if we felt like doing something like that, it'd be pretty easy to do it.
And what time does the event end in total?
The event is scheduled to end at dusk, essentially. We're not going to go past lights,
So it will go all the way past 5, 6, 7, 8
Oh, yeah.
o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
8 o'clock.
The All-Star Jam is like 7:50 to 8:50, I think, and then we figured that by 9 we'd really make sure everybody was done.
And are streets being closed off for this? It wasn't really clear to me about street closure and what that's going to do in terms of the regular flow of in and out of Brisbane, flow of traffic and stuff like that.
They are, yes. San Francisco. I'm sorry, Visitas. I guess it's Old County, right? Is going to be closed to the point of the corner there at the post office, correct? And then at least half of San Francisco, if not all, was that all of it? San Francisco will be closed off right in front of the park. And so the idea is that everybody's gonna need to come in essentially through Valley and park this way and come to the festival.
Well, I'm just thinking about regular residents and that disruption to them and
Right, and
so the other way in and out
they'll
of
need
town
to go in
would be San Bruno.
San Bruno,
Going over there,
yeah.
San Bruno.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see, what else did I have here? And you said ticket sales. So ticket sales people should go out and buy their tickets now. Their ticket sales you're starting to sell them. Talk a little bit about how ticket sales are going. I know Renee asked a little bit about that. And because it's come out late, people buy tickets at the last minute.
We
in
didn't see
Brisbane.
any ticket sales for the first few weeks because they were only on sale and it wasn't really being promoted widely. Now we've been buying Facebook ads. We've been putting up posters everywhere. Noreen's been posting through all of her channels to get it going,
Right.
and we're seeing a snowball effect especially because at the end of last week word was getting out that was the last
Where's
time
the
they could get
tickets
the 50
sold?
done.
Where
They're
do you
sold
put
on
them?
the website, which is a super key part of this. If you haven't visited StarCityFest.com yet, visit the website and take a look at what this looks like online.
This is the place to plug that. The website again is
StarCityFest.com.
to buy tickets.
Yeah. I mean, I think it gives the impression of a real music festival and showcases Brisbane.
Right, and my understanding is that this has a fundraising component, and that fundraising component is for San Bruno Mountain Watch. Talk a little bit about that.
Right. So in terms of how that got started, that really happened before me, and was sort of handed to us. This event was originally a run. It was going to be like a 50K, 25K, choose your length run of the San Bruno Mountain. And the nonprofit partner, I believe, was chose for that reason. And then that event was expanded to, hey, let's have a music festival and have people hang out in Brisbane after the run. And the two could feed off each other in terms of marketing and promotion. And then that didn't happen. They got denied the permit based on butterflies on the mountain. So no matter which route was suggested, apparently it wasn't acceptable in the month of July to San Mateo County Parks and Rec, or whoever exactly makes that decision. So in that regard, we kind of saw that coming, and we went right ahead with the music festival, and it needs to stand on its own. There's some talk of that event, the run, being revived for a later event, even possibly October, but at least as far as what we're talking about right here, right now, this is now just a music festival, and the San Bruno Mountain Watch gets a significant portion of the profits on the back end of that's our deal. The deal is between the city, Dreamstar Productions, and San Bruno Mountain Watch.
So San Bruno Mountain Watch, it becomes a benefit to them if a profit is realized when the event is all done. It's not something like proceeds from the beer garden or some specific thing goes to them.
No.
They're really, the success for them means that this thing has to make a profit.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Except I had an interesting conversation this week with Chad Garvey, the former principal at Brisbane Elementary and the other elementary over there, the name is eluding me. He'd hired me a few times just to play music, because I have this kids thing, Guitarfish Adventures and various other things for the kids. And his email bounced back to me, so it took me a little while to track him down. But what he does now is he's an auctioneer, and he raises lots and lots of money for lots and lots of events. And he believes that we could have an auction presence at this festival, and his partner, one of his auctioneers, I should say, lives in town. In touch, we're just meeting each other online now, and the idea is that anything that we could come up with to raise funds during the day, like that's their bread and butter. A lot of times they'll do that at a gala event the night before or the night after, something like this. We're not at that place yet, but for example, the most obvious thing that he could think of was that from the stage we could essentially say, hey, this is a benefit for San Bruno Mountain, and everybody pull out your cell phone, and if you text blah 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 94005, $10 will immediately go to San Bruno Mountain Watch. So there was one of his ideas on how we could potentially monetize that right away.
And talking a little bit more about the economic footprint of it. So this is funded in part by some funds from the city.
This is completely seated by the city.
It's seated by the city. You also have sponsors, and some of that is in kind stuff like
for example,
DoubleTree, for example.
DoubleTree is
they're not giving you money.
No,
but they're giving you this deal.
They are giving us money.
They're giving you money directly.
They're giving us money. 47 Hills is giving us money. The food vendors, small amounts of money. Alta Motors, Buy Right. The in-kind is coming from Bright Event Rentals. Davis & Company is paying for some T-shirts. Sunset Scavenger is doing in-kind. That's, I think, pretty much covers it. So, we really... The other thing about this is that when it came to sponsorship, everybody did sort of go, well, we already know about concerts in the park. We already got your letter for that, and we've already, and who are you? Was often what we got. And so Mike and I literally just hoofed it around Brisbane and knocked on people's doors and brought like handmade promotional packages and tried to connect with some people personally. And the people that we did are the people that are sponsors, and we raised, committed to us over $3,000.
And this, I had one last question, and that is this. Hopefully, this is successful, and that this becomes an annual event. That's the idea. The long view of it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The truth about the way that all went down is that the city just sort of said, we're thinking of doing this. You guys would have pitted a bid for it. We did, and then we just started going. And to name it and get the website going and get the logo going, like we've just been moving so fast that somewhere along the line we had a discussion, and they went, yeah, obviously we're not really just going to do this one year and set all this up. spend all this money and work on it this hard and then just say, oh, well, next year. So we have essentially been told that if this goes at all well, it's at least a 3-year plan to get to solvency and then hopefully to move it beyond. You were here at the original meeting when we did the pitch.
Yes.
So the city was considering this already. They were considering 1, 2, or 3 option level 1, 2, or 3. Option level 1 was to essentially do a concert in the park with maybe one more band, and just kind of kick it off a little bit. Option number 2 was a one-day event. And option number 3 was to do maybe even a weekend event at a bigger location, potentially over at the marina. And it kind of became very clear once everybody started talking that everybody wanted to do more than 1 and wasn't quite ready for 3, so that if we could start a fire here, we could get this humming and then potentially move it over to the bigger location in marina in a few years.
Right. Well, I want to congratulate you for putting all this work into it. I know it takes a lot of work to start something, and it's clear that you guys have put a lot of energy into it, as has our wonderful staff up at Parks and Rec, and so we hope it's a great success. Thanks for coming down and talking to us about it. Did anybody else have any questions?
I do.
Yes.
Just in regard to the advertising, besides being on Facebook and having posters, are you advertising in any of the broader publications like SF Gate or anything like that, just to bring in more of a regional audience? Because we're going to need more than Brisbane.
That's been in discussion a lot in the last week. We've been looking at various options, and ultimately we've decided that we're going to place an ad in through the Chronicle, SF Gate, and try to time it maybe like in a week from now or something like that. Look at maybe just a little bit longer, but soon in terms of getting the word out. Because for us, we put the Brisbane filter, as we call it, on this event every time we were thinking of anything. Mm-hmm. We clearly could have gone to bigger beer sponsors or outside food sources or anything to. Mm-hmm. But the mission we were given was to unite Brisbane first with itself and then out to its neighbors, South San Francisco and into the region. So that's very much where we've been. And at this point, we now are confident we've got this great party. It seems like everybody in town has gone from sort of, what's this again, to, yeah, a lot of people have heard of it. And now we need to spread the word around the mountain.
Right.
So that's exactly where we're at. And the budget for this, it doesn't allow for much, but we feel like essentially that the Chronicle would be the broad audience reach ad that we're going to go for, and we'll continue to do Facebook ads that are they're targeted with like a radius,
right.
that with Brisbane in the middle. And I've been trying different ways to do that, and it's like a whole other discipline in life if you really want to understand how to create and buy and place well-targeted Facebook ads. But we're working on that stuff, and the last couple of ads seem to have gotten thousands of impressions.
The SF Gate online calendar is really great too. Even if you were to put that up now, it will stay up until the event goes. And I don't. It's either part of it is either free or it's not very. I think I've actually.
You can get a
placed
calendar
for free.
listing. You can get a calendar listing for free.
You can. It's only
but
if
it's
you
not
place like
highlighted, and if you place an
Correct.
ad, then it gets a little bit better.
Yeah, and if you add a picture to it, or the more you add to it, it gets pricey. But very basic, it could be free.
Right, and I believe that essentially Noreen has been doing a lot of that stuff this week, trying to get it listed everywhere.
Good.
It can get listed. Yeah. List it away. Anybody, please.
I will start listing everywhere.
Please, yeah.
I was going to ask you, have you given a poster down to Vanessa at 7 Mile House and over to the brewery?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. 7 Mile House is one that kind of love Vanessa and the 7 Mile House. And went down there 3 times. We did this old school. We really did walk around, and we didn't quite connect. They got the poster up there and everything, but maybe next year we can even get them as a sponsorship kind of deal.
Do you have any small posters?
I've got a bunch of stuff.
I'll be heading over to Ashkenaz next Tuesday. I can bring a stack over.
Trisha's been printing away. So. How about a little stack for everybody?
Excellent.
How's that?
Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect.
Please just share them with your friends and share them with your neighbors. I've literally been walking down my street, just introducing myself, putting the mailboxes, and every other kind of thing.
Thank you.
This is the larger poster.
Better late than never.
Yeah, the poster looks great. I really like it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
The graphics on this, we worked really, we had a good team on it, including my wife, who won with all two doing the website and
Thank you.
the poster. Go ahead, put those,
We'll put them up.
put those somewhere cool. See them. Very
Is
good.
that it? Well, thanks so much for coming and talking to us. That was really informative, and I hope whoever's out there watching it will go to the website, which is, what's the website again?
StarCityFest.com.
StarCityFest.com. Buy your tickets online. Thanks for coming.
All right. Well, thanks, y'all, for your support. Thanks to these guys very much every week, and to the city for giving us this opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael, you're up next.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Michael Barnes. I'm a Brisbane resident, and I'm circling back tonight to thank you for all of your work on the naming policy that the city adopted but then did not follow, and for all of your work on the skate park name. The City Council heard it, and they decided not to follow the Commission's recommendation, which was no surprise given the way the council members kind of revealed their preference in the subcommittee meeting before it came to the full commission. But I just thought it was really nice, for a change, that the commission considered the users of the skate park and their request, and actually followed the policy that you spent 9 months developing. It was really nice, and the name, who knows if that policy will ever get used. It certainly was not used in this case, but it was heartening that the Park and Rec Commission actually considered what the users of the skate park were recommending. And it's not often that teenage boys get listened to, and I think that was proven at the city council meeting. They're kind of an underserved population that everyone kind of struggles to figure out what to do with and how to engage. And you did that. You listened. And I thought that was courageous in a way, knowing that the city council, through their subcommittee, had already weighed in on the name and were not in favor of the 8 Mile name. So I just want to thank you. I have served, I served 15 years in that position that you're sitting in, and I didn't hear thank you very often, so I thought I'd come back and express my gratitude and express it on the behalf of the skaters who, they're teenage boys. My son's in San Jose right now playing baseball, so I thought you guys did a really good job.
We
on
tried.
that. You did a great job. It was really nice. Anyway, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'm sorry, I'm going to leave you now and go home.
So bring those skaters on down to the Star City event.
Thanks for the positive feedback, Michael. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, old business, we have absolutely none. And new business, we have absolutely none. Reports, chairperson. So we do have an email. Here it is. And we all had it here. This is from Karen Lentz. And this is about exceeding the number of absences due to various conflicts and so on, and that we need to at least acknowledge that and maybe take some action on that. We do have a policy in place that if a commissioner exceeds, what is it, three meetings in a given year, that it should come to the attention. I think it's put in place for for the situation where we have commissioners who are on the commission but just don't show up and don't participate. I don't think that's the case with Karen at all. She's not here tonight, for example, because she's at a school board meeting. I know that in the last year, the two meetings that she had to miss where I had to chair because I was in your seat, that she watched those meetings carefully and was paying attention. I serve on subcommittee meetings with her as well. She's very, very much engaged in the commission and a valuable member of the commission. So what I think that we can do here tonight, if people are in favor of just approving her absences, approving the absences that she has here, and which would allow her to stay on the commission and move forward. So, do we do this by motion?
Yeah.
We do this by motion. Do we want to have any discussion about this? Do we want to put a motion on the floor and then discuss
I'll
it?
make a motion to excuse these absences that she has outlined.
I second.
Any
you have a
conversation
discussion.
about it? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, very good. I did want to just mention one other thing, since this is my little spot on the agenda. When I made my presentation to the City Council back in April, one of the things that I added to the accomplishments and so on that happen here in Brisbane, I made a comment about various nonprofit organizations that interface with the city and work with the city and provide additional recreational activities. And I had the opportunity this year to go to the Brisbane Dance Workshop event, and in all these years I had never gone before, but I was invited this year, and I have to say it was absolutely splendid evening. It was spectacular, and I knew this was a good organization, but I guess I had never witnessed how much the parents, the community, the teachers that teach these kids and the kids themselves who are performing, what a wonderful asset that is to our communities. And I know we have two members of the board here on our commission, Teresa and Karen, so I just wanted to give a shout out and say a great job to Camille, to board members, to the staff, and to the community that pitches together for 37 years now to add that value to our community. So.
I want to add, and a big shout out to Camille Salmon, who is instrumental in bringing this. I mean,
Yeah.
she,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for her, there'd be no. She had the vision, and
She made a wonderful speech that was near and that really is near and dear to my heart, which is about how the arts are. I mean, I can't say it exactly as well as she did, but it's about how the arts are a part of the thread that builds strong community, and she really believes that, and that was in evidence that night, and it's something that I really believe in. So I was really impressed by it and by all the work that people associated with Brisbane Dance Workshop
Right.
do. Yeah.
It
Okay.
I agree. It is.
I agree.
It's an asset to our community.
It is. It is.
It's amazing.
That's all I have. There's subcommittees. So two of the subcommittees did not meet because of conflicts. That is D and E. But we did meet, seniors did meet. And Bonnie, do you want to give a...
On the
report?
seniors?
Yes, and this was having a look at the needs assessment survey and seeing specifically what in each category, seniors and teens and so on, we might address. So, Bonnie.
Okay. One of the things that the survey showed is a cooking class. So when we met, it was suggested maybe the seniors would like a cooking class. And out of 35 people, 2 people raised their hands. Most seniors feel like they know how to cook. They don't need a class. Maybe if the city opened it up citywide, maybe there'd be more interest. But the seniors, not that interested. And so we met and we discussed programs. A lot of programs are at the Sunrise Room. The seniors meet once a week at the community center. But the Sunrise Rooms has things 5 days a week. And they're very active, and they have the art show, and the city from the seniors, there's an art show, and it's very good. So they did a really good job. So I think the seniors are well on their way, but they're not interested in classes.
Can I just ask one question about that? When you polled those that are present, you're pulling that from the group that already attends the
Right.
senior center. So if this went out kind of citywide, it was probably talking to people who maybe don't get involved, and so maybe that was a class that
Maybe that's
would bring
where it should be.
bring in more seniors that aren't already
Exactly.
attending. Perhaps.
Exactly, I agree.
Yeah.
And possibly if we opened it up, you could gear it to seniors, but maybe you should do it citywide. Maybe there's other people that say, I'd like to know more about nutrition or, how to cook easy meals. Especially if you're working, you don't spend a lot of time in the kitchen. So maybe it's a possibility.
Yeah, we were all excited in that subcommittee meeting to find one thing that we thought maybe would be a good addition, this
Yes.
cooking class. It was a suggestion, and the challenges of seniors cooking, particularly if you're at that point in your life where you're just cooking for one, and how do you, and that might be a good thing, and we were all ready to recommend it. But then, of course, Bonnie does a poll at the senior class, and there's not much interest in it. And I know that's always a challenge for us, is to come up with ideas, and when we line them up, I'm reminded of the photography class, and we line them up.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, and there's somebody brings that idea to us, and we follow through all the way, and then it nothing comes of it. So I don't know.
How many members do you have in your senior community there?
That belong to the club.
Correct.
It's close to 35.
Okay.
We've picked up 3 new members recently. So they know what they want, they know what they don't want, and they're very vocal.
So we really end up with no new program initiatives out of that, except the cooking class. Maybe if we hear more enthusiasm, that might be a good idea.
Of course, you have to find a teacher, too.
Yeah.
And the other thing that was brought up was just the sunrise room, and it would go to the facilities committee, just, upgrading that facility.
Oh, that's right.
The furniture, the carpet, and I don't know if anybody talked to them down there that, because there's a lot of classes at the
I know.
sunrise room, if anybody brought up about the cooking down there.
There's no stove.
Well, see, we might have to include that.
But
So that'll be brought back to facilities, but that sunrise room needs to have some changes for our seniors.
Is that everything for seniors?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next up is teen subcommittee,
And I agreed to do that.
Yes, thank
All
you.
right. Ricardo, Kevin, and I met, and we also went over the needs assessment program somewhat. One of the big things that came up that people want is a designated space for teens. We talked about the fact that there is going to be a designated teen space in the new library, but our concerns for that is making sure that it's a space that can be closed off, and if there's, maybe some stuff that's a little louder or a little more rambunctious isn't affecting everybody in the library, that if it's just a place where they can only go and be quiet, that might not be exactly, it might not serve the whole purpose of a teen space. They kind of need a place where they can be teens. They've been in school all day long, and they might need to be a little more physical and wound up, and being able to talk and maybe listen to music, whatever. So anyway, we did talk some about that. Interested in seeing how the new space is going to roll out, if there's going to be some way to keep them a little bit separate if need be, or if we're also going to be needing to look for other teen space besides that. let's see. Ricardo also talked about the school bus issue and the fact that the district is going to be taking over the school bus stuff next year, and that's going to be off of his plate, which is great. Brisbane will still be paying for it, but just not managing it, I believe. He brought us up to date on what he's been doing with teen events. They had a middle school luau. They had about 85 kids show up. They had a Hawaiian pizza. He's helped with some school events like the health fair, where he discussed the difference between Gatorade and water. And he's doing homework help and student council and roaming the halls, making connections about twice a week. The Yak is still non-existent. He has some leads with some 7th graders. Kevin told him that he knew of 3 kids specifically who were interested in town. He's hoping that it comes together, a little bit more next school year. He's working on the CIT program, which is the Counselor in Training program. The goal is to start with the CIT through summer and then continue it, hopefully, with the Yak, have it transition into that. He said he had 7 signups so far. The kids are being asked to interview and go through, get dressed up and come in and do a real official interview process, which is going to be great for them to go through, although there will be no turn downs. Let's see. Yes, and he's going to be doing something called Yak Attack with other communities and other cities. Hoping to bring some kids to that, and it's just this whole big seminar thing, all geared towards Yak and what it means to be a member and what they do and all that kind of stuff. And that's it. Can you think of anything else, Kevin?
Well, no, I would just say in terms of trying to respond to the things that were the needs assessment, there was a lot of stuff about the teen center and about
Right.
space for the teens, and of course that's where we learned that the teen center is
Is
destined to be demolished. I
Right.
don't.
That was
on the city council meeting. Was it approved?
It was part of my update this evening.
Okay,
since-
well, we can
Yeah.
wait to that. But anyway, that teen center is,
Yes.
that particular location is not going to ever reopen. It's dilapidated beyond repair. And so just to circle back about the little bit about the space in the library, we talked about the teen room at the Belmont Library, which Ricardo was quite familiar with.
Right.
And I had heard about it, that it was set up so that there could be unsupervised time, but yet it was glassed so that people could look in, so that, and we talked about that in terms of our library. Of course, our library design is pretty well down the track, and I don't know if there's been any input. I know there's a teen area. I don't know if there's been any input from librarians in terms of how those best function vis-a-vis the way it functions at the Belmont Library. So that was
Right.
part of that extended conversation. But we didn't come up with anything out of the needs assessment survey that we could say, here is something we recommend that we try.
Right.
Is that your
Yep,
recollection?
that's my recollection.
Did anyone consider where the library is now, turning that into a teen center?
We did talk about that, but that, I'm sure there's, and that's way down the line, and I'm sure there's
Yeah.
lots of interest, and that's probably a conversation that's really premature
Okay.
to have, to say,
Okay,
let's put a teen center in there versus,
yeah,
I don't think, to my knowledge, no real serious conversations have begun about what will happen with that space.
okay.
I just wanted to add that the 3 students, I think they might be the same ones, they did fill out the applications for the Yak
Oh, excellent.
that I know of. I
Thanks,
don't know if
Renee.
they've turned them in, but the last 2 weeks of school, they were doing that.
No,
Okay.
that's good.
Great.
That's good. Okay, and Day in the Park.
That's Teresa, too.
That's
She
me
took
again.
notes. I didn't take notes. And I saw you writing away. I thought, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so Day in the Park. We're going to have a band. The band is going to be playing from 1 to 3. Band has not been chosen yet. We have about $2,000 to $3,000 budgeted for the band. We went over the whole budget we're saving lots of money in lots of places and coming in with the lower budget that we've had every other year, not the higher budget we had last year. And I've got that budget somewhere here. Where did I put it? Well, you'll have to remind me, Noreen.
It's about $25,000.
That's the budget for this one, or that was last year?
That's this year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
last
that's
year,
right, it was 30.
Last year they increased it to
Correct,
33.
33, correct. So we're well within budget this year. We've made lots of, move things around, what we're not going to do this year. We are opening it up to commercial vendors in the community this year. We're planning to have 1, possibly 2 breweries. And also for beer sales, Best PTO, we are going to offer to do the wine and or perhaps a signature drink. And I don't know if you've had that conversation yet, Noreen. No. Okay. We're going to continue with the dog and pie contests. Bonnie and I have agreed to judge. We're also hoping to do 1 or 2 family games like 3-legged race or hula hooping, tug of war, something like that. Steve and the volunteer group are all hard at work on the Derby. We do plan on doing the workshops again this year. Mailers will go out in the water bills. And Public Works is working on the opening in the fence. And we'll also, it'll be the same setup as last year. It'll go around the park again with the same closure. And we are going to be hopefully really filling in the whole space this year with the craft vendors, the food. The food should be set up a little bit more on the stage end this time to kind of bring people in for the live music, hopefully. Yep, that's about it. It's all going.
Great, thank you.
And where's the band going to be placed?
Under the gazebo.
Okay.
Yeah, same as usual.
Okay, setting subcommittee meetings. Now, we are going to take next month off.
Right.
Do we have subcommittees that need to meet in the interim? Or do we wait until we reconvene in August? And there's a third question on that, and maybe this is in your report back to us. Will we have a seventh commissioner joining us in August?
I don't know whether or not they'll be on board by August.
So subcommittee meetings.
So I think we should at least try, and if there's other ones you want to do, but try to get the 2 in that got
Events and
canceled. Yeah.
recreational facilities.
So if we can maybe try to get those in. We have plenty of time, so.
Yeah, events was canceled, so we need to reset that one. I do think we should do a day in the park also, because we're down to the
Yes.
We're down to the wire with that,
Yeah.
okay?
Right.
And did you want to set that up?
Sure. I didn't bring my phone with me tonight. I was charging, so I don't have my calendar on me. But yeah, throw out some dates. I'll write them down and.
Well, I can just do the old-fashioned
Let's
way
do
since
the-
we have so much time
yeah.
till the next meeting.
Perfect.
If you guys want me to just do that do those 3, unless, because you're on events too.
I am
so-
on events
Okay.
as well.
I can just give you my schedule. I'm free every day after 11:30 up until July 5th.
So that's coming up soon. Concerts in the park. We don't really, Concerts in the Park is all up and running. We don't really need to meet. There's no purpose for us to meet until
I don't think so.
we do a postmortem. Immediately
Right.
following Concerts in the Park would be when we have our first meeting.
I would like a follow-up, and we don't necessarily have to do this with a meeting, but I think the one thing left hanging was food trucks, and I don't know what's
We don't
going
know
on.
where that's at.
Right, yeah.
How do we get feedback without having a whole meeting?
I can ask Jeff and Steve to follow up with you guys.
That'd be
Okay.
great.
Yep.
Okay.
By email? That would be by email.
Yes.
Events, we do want to have that rescheduled.
Who's on that?
Events
That would be me.
You again?
and Renee.
And Renee.
So I'm going to go ahead and, since Teresa doesn't have her phone, I'll get a hold of you guys and see what we can work out.
Okay.
And then the rec facilities, except Karen's not here for that one, so if you guys can come up with a date, maybe I can get Karen to, because that's Renee and Lyle and Karen, so.
What's your schedule
Again, our next meeting's not until August.
Right.
I mean, you probably,
Yeah,
we
right,
can,
right now.
I know
July-
you're busy.
July 26th is probably the first time I have.
Okay, I can't do that. I'll be flying.
Okay.
Then potentially either first or second week of August.
Yeah,
Before the August meeting, we'll see what we can, I'll
Okay.
try to get something together with you guys.
I can do anything after August 26th.
August.
Actually,
Or I'm sorry, July
yeah.
26th.
Okay.
Okay.
And just looking down the list, that's the only other thing that has to meet. Festival of Lights, it's still too early. We would do that starting in the fall. Habitat Restoration Day is over. Public art, there's no reason for us to meet. Recreational programs, there's nothing for that. Facilities, you're going to have a meeting. Seniors, there's no need for us to
No,
meet. Teen
not
services.
right now.
There's no need for us to meet for teen services. Child Development Master Plan. Okay. So that is setting up subcommittee meetings. Do you have everything you need, Tricia, for that? Basically, you've got to
Which, yeah.
circle back around.
Yeah, I'll have to
We've
get
given you
into-
nothing concrete
Yeah,
at all.
exactly. It's good. I'll get a hold of you guys. We'll make it work.
All right. Commissioners, any commissioner items?
I just have a question, and maybe you're going to put this in reports about the dog park.
Yeah, I have an update for
Okay,
that as well.
thank you.
Anything else? Okay, staff, program reports.
Okay, we have a lot going on here. Program updates for summer camps and preschool enrollment. So the preschool enrollment starting for 17-18 school year, we had our lottery raffle, I guess we would call it, and we have 25 enrolled. We had 3 on the wait list, and after we went through everybody, 2 of the people bowed out. So 2 of the wait list people got in, and there was 1 person left on the wait list. But since then, I've had 3 other people come in and sign up. So we still have a wait list going, but we're full for our preschool for next year. Our summer camps, they're going okay right now. I think I tend to have this happens every year at this time. As soon as school's out, people start realizing, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with my kids now? Oh my gosh. So it's going to start bumping up. We're about half full for each week. So we're doing okay there. Preschool camp, we're doing a preschool camp this year in the summer. The enrollment's a little bit low right now. So I'm not sure how that's going to go, if that's going to pick up. What else do we have? Oh, I should have started with this. So our baseball team, our Pinto League made the playoffs, and they won their first game, but eventually they didn't make it all the way through. But the Mustang team won the South San Francisco Championship for the first time ever. And I talked to Ricardo today, and they're going to council's going to acknowledge them on the 20th. And Ricardo said the trophy, he said and they're going to have it here in City Hall next week. So people can come by and look at it. And
Right.
so it's very exciting for them.
First.
Yeah, so I'll be putting a signboard up this week. And so we're going to acknowledge them as much as possible. It's a big deal. So pool schedule and summer swim lessons start this Saturday, the 17th. And our community night at the Giants is on June 23rd, and we are sold out.
Excellent.
Good.
So we had about 4 tickets left, and someone came in and took those, and we're sold now. So we're good to go. So I think that's all I have.
And then I have a few additional updates. I realize we haven't met since the fire hydrant restoration event, so just wanted to let you guys know that 17 hydrants were restored by over 35 volunteers. Thank you to Renee for coming out and helping Tricia and I with some heavy lifting and painting a few hydrants. It was a really successful event this year. we had a few new designs that we accepted, and they're really great. There's a fantastic octopus one. So if you haven't already seen the photos on our Facebook page or driven around town to see them, please do.
And might we ask Kevin to maybe take a couple pictures for us?
I might, in my spare time, yes.
So we very much appreciate all the families and the volunteers that came out and dedicated their time to sprucing up the hydrants. It was very successful this year. A few updates from the City Council meeting that happened earlier this month on June 1st. As Michael mentioned earlier, the council did vote 4-1 to name the skate park the Brisbane Skate Park, and so we will move forward with accompanying signage. Our Public Works Director, Randy, presented the demolition of the teen center. That process will take at least 90 days because of PG&E and water being shut off and RFP, and so it's several months down the road, but the teen center will be demolished likely later this year. And then we had a few other Park and Rec related items that were on the council agenda for that evening, but given the timing of that meeting, were postponed to the next regular council meeting, which is July 20th. And those topics are the memorial bench and plaque policy, the dog park resurfacing, and the public art implementation guidelines. So those are supposed to go to council on July 20th, pending any potential, deferral from that meeting. So just wanted to give you guys an update on those items. On June 22nd, next Thursday, we are going to be participating in the world's largest swim lesson at the community pool. It's something that's done across the world. Everybody within a 24-hour time frame, all of the host locations do a massive swim lesson to encourage people to sign up for swim lessons and develop those life skills to prevent drowning. So we're doing that this year. The Community Giants Night is the following day, and then immediately after that on Saturday, we have two events. We have the habitat restoration at the Costaños Canyon, as well as the Kite Festival over at the marina in the afternoon. So it's a busy few days for us. July happens to be National Parks and Recreation Month, so we're trying to get everybody excited about that and putting out some promotional materials here in the coming weeks, encouraging people to, the theme this year is #GetYourPlayOn. So you'll see some of those materials coming down the pipeline. And then, as Jimmy spoke about tonight, the Star City Music Festival on July 8th, and the Friday immediately following that event will be the first summer concert of the series on the 14th. So we have a busy few weeks and months coming up, and lots for people to do in the community, and hopefully people come out and are engaged.
When is your last day?
I was just going to say, I would like to say that this will be Noreen's last meeting for a little while. So we will be getting Stuart back. Yay! I'm sure he's excited about that. But so I, as working with her all the time, want to wish her the best, and it's going to be really difficult for us without her. I have to say, it's not going to be fun, but we'll manage, and we just want her to go and enjoy her time. So, but she'll be leaving shortly.
Well, I would certainly echo that sentiment. We will miss you. You probably won't be missing us too much. You'll be quite occupied
Well, thank you.
She might after a couple months.
I'm sure
But
I'll
really,
be ready to
we
come
wish
back.
you all the best,
Thank
and it goes without saying, we all really enjoy working with you, and we'll look forward to your return when that happens. And
Yes. Likewise.
I just have one question. What did you say about the Castaños Canyon?
It's the habitat restoration event.
Did we get the raccoon?
The
statue?
raccoon, I believe, is in the works, but
Okay.
I am not involved at this point.
Okay.
Yes,
I just
but it is being discussed.
okay. And for all of you know, we're trying to see to replace the raccoon
Right.
statue.
Hopefully.
is that something that comes across our?
Yeah.
Where is that being discussed? Does that come? Where, I've heard about it, but I haven't been in any meeting where that's been.
And I'm not quite sure where it stands now. I know that there was some interest in replacing the raccoon, and some council members as well as some other city staff had come to, I believe, Renee and myself to ask who produced the
artist?
original artwork, and could we get in contact with them? And I believe they have been contacted, and there's a quote.
Is this
replacing
going
raccoon?
through Public Art Fund?
I don't know. That would be a good question.
Because if that
for Stuart when he
is, then
gets
it
back.
needs to go through that
Yes.
that channel, and it hasn't yet. I've heard about it, just in passing, but
Yeah. I'll see what I can find out. And
yeah,
then
that
ask
maybe is
Stuart
something that
follow-up.
if it's supposed to come across our
Sure.
desk,
Right.
as it were, then it should be on an agenda or something. So that
Absolutely.
Yeah, Kevin, I don't know. They just asked me outreach to find the artist. I did. I gave them the information. They contacted the artist, got a quote, and I don't know where it went from there.
Okay.
But I'll follow up and circle back.
Yeah, okay. So moving on, written communications. Do we have any written communications? None? Okay. Commission calendar. So what do we open with in August? What will be on our agenda?
I don't know. I put the raccoon on there. Maybe we can have that on there.
We'll have that.
I do you know what we would want to? I think at this point, not really sure.
That will solve itself
I
between
think
then and now,
probably
between
some
now and
things will come up. I will have a couple of subcommittee meetings for sure, but I think we might have to let it kind of iron itself out,
Okay.
unless there's anything you guys can think of at this moment.
No.
And there may be some follow-up from the next city council meeting as well.
Okay. Okay, is that everything? Did we cover everything then? All right, well then, I adjourn this meeting of the Brisbane Parks and Rec Commission at 7:36.
All right.